Guys, so I just tried to film this and my lipstick was coming off like really bad, so I'm filming it again because I'm a piece of shit. Welcome to my channel. It is kind of a mess on my channel. I used to do beauty videos, but I guarantee that not a single person has seen those because I took those down real fast. I went through a stage where I was like, beauty, like Vogue, like I'm so good at eyeliner, I'm going to show the world. But I'm over it. I'm really over it. So now I'm going to just stick to what I'm good at, and that is talking. And just, I'm good at being a mess. So that's what this channel is a mess. I'm just going to get right into it. So this story, to make sense, you'll need a little backstory. So I'll try not to drag this on like I did in my last video. So when I was about 8 years old, I found out that my brother's dad was not my dad. And I found this out through my mom's new husband and her. Like, they decided to tell me. I grew up thinking that my brother's dad was my dad, and I didn't know anything different. And then when they got a divorce, I think it was like, okay, like, you don't have to, like, you don't have to go see him, because, like, he's not your dad. So I was like, you're not my dad, basically. I'm a mess. Okay, so so I had a dad that I didn't know. Literally didn't know he existed. And then when I was 11, we got a Facebook request, like my mom did, and it was my dad, and he was saying, like, I would love to see our daughter, like, I'd love to meet her, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, okay. I was 11, so I didn't really, like, think anything. I was just like, oh my god, like, something new and exciting in my life. Like, I'm dad. Like, that's so cool. So I ended up meeting him. I met him, my two half brothers, and then my uncle and grandma. So his brother and his mother. So it's like brief, honestly. I just didn't like him, I guess. So I meet him and I meet those people, whatever, and I just decide that I didn't really want to be a part of his life. It wasn't important. I'm gonna be in the fucking square of my camera because it's kind of ridiculous. I just decided that he was not what I expected. He is not dad of the year. He is not even person of the year. So he's kind of below life. I was just like, whatever. I'm okay if I never see him again, honestly. So fast forward like a few years later, I'm 15. I just turned 15. It's freshman year, and it's New Year's Eve. I get a phone call from like a random number. I didn't even know, like, I didn't know him. Like, I didn't have his number or anything. I get a phone call, and he's like, and it's my dad, if you didn't know that. But so I get a phone call. It's my dad, and he's like, Grandma's in the hospital, and we think it's gonna be her last day here, her last couple days here, with us. So she would like it if you said goodbye. And like I didn't speak to him, so like I wasn't close to the family. Like, I didn't know them. Like, I literally was strangers to them, basically. But I was like, of course, like, that's my grandma. I wish I would have gotten to know her, honestly. She seems like a great lady. But so a little backstory on her is she had beat cancer 9 times. She is a strong ass woman, like, dang, 9 times. But this time was just a little rough. I mean, she was getting older, so I understood why they wanted to take her off life support and have her pass, because she was just struggling, and I understood that. So I go to the hospital, and I'm with my best friend at the time. Her and I are still friends, but we were just like, we hung out every day. Like, I almost lived with her. Whatever, that's a different story. But so we go to the hospital, and I kid you not, my entire family is there. Like, my entire dad's side of the family is there. Like, people from like Florida, people were flying in, like my cousins, my aunts, my uncles, my grandparents, like just like grandparents on the other side, like great grandparents, like so many people. The only people that weren't there were like my brothers, which now that I think about it, I wish they were, because I haven't seen them since I was 11, and I like wish I had brothers, you know? I mean, I have a lot, but anyways, that's beside the point. So I meet everyone that's like, okay, like, hey, I'm, you know, his daughter, whatever. And I go into the hospital room, and my grandma's completely unconscious. She's like, the only way, basically, I think that she's surviving is through the machine, which, like, is heartbreaking to see if it's anyone. Like, I didn't know this lady. I really didn't. And that's why I think I'm not, like, I can tell the story how I can tell it, is because I didn't really know her. But I did respect her, so I, like, sat with her, and I just kind of, like, I held her hand, and I don't know if she knows that I was there. I hope she does. But, she was not good. Like, she looked like she was gonna die. I knew, and I was ready for that. Like, I accepted the fact that this was the last time I was gonna see her. So I say my goodbyes. I talk to her out loud, even though that she's unconscious. She's breathing through like a machine is pumping her chest for her, and it was really emotional. Everyone in the room was crying. I was crying. My dad, he was like telling me all these things, like, yeah, we're gonna basically pull the plug either tomorrow or the next day. And I was like, okay, like, you know, I'm glad I could be here, blah, blah, blah. And so I go home, I go to my New Year's Eve party. Everything's fine. Well, I didn't go to a party, actually. I went home, but besides the point. I go on with my life, basically. I'm like, well, so long, Father. Like, nice seeing you again. Hopefully this is whatever. Like, I didn't know what to expect. 3 days later, I get a text, and he said, like, you know, we took her off life support, and I am planning the funeral, and I will let you know when the funeral is if you want to go. And at that point, I was really just like overwhelmed. I think I didn't know anybody. Like, I just met them, so like I was really apprehensive to go to the funeral, and I was like, okay, like, whatever, you do that, like, you send me the invitation when you do. And he basically told me, like, where the funeral is going to be held, and when, and all this stuff, right? I was like, okay, well, and I never ended up going. I didn't want to go, like, I just felt weird, so I didn't talk to him, like, for the rest of the time. But fast forward to about March, that was January 1st, basically, the beginning of January. Fast forward to, like, I think it was, like, May. I believe it was May. I was in class. I had this class with my friend that went with me, but I just remember we were not on the best of terms. I'm pretty sure she was, like, at the next table, or, like, I think she was at my table, but we were just, like, not friends. Like, it was complicated. I don't remember what happened or why. It was just, like, not comfortable, right? But I get a phone call. It's, like, from a random number. Again, I saved my dad's number, so if he did call, I could, like, know who it was. So it wasn't him, and I don't answer it because I'm in class, but the person leaves a voicemail. So I put my headphones in, like, sneakily, because you're not, like, allowed to have your phone out because we're during lecture. And I'm, like, listening to this, and it starts off, "Hi, Mckenna. This is your grandma. This is your grandma. The grandma that died. The grandma that you got invited to a funeral." I'm not going to say her name because that's, like, disrespectful, but she's like, "This is blank, your grandma, and I would like it if you were to come see me. I heard that you saw me in the hospital, and I'm very appreciative, and I would love to see you." My fucking dead grandma called me. Like, At that point, I'm still in class listening to this. It's like a really long voicemail about like where she is, like what she's doing, how she's better, blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, oh my, oh, like, what? What? Like, I don't even know how to feel because I'm just like, what do you mean? What do you mean you're alive? Like, my dad told me you were dead. Like, okay, right, okay. So, I'm like hysterically crying, obviously. I run out of the classroom, like my heart drops. I turn pale as a ghost. Like, I don't know how my friend knew, but she knew something was up, and she was like, I don't care what's going on, I'm gonna come after you. Like, I'm gonna, like, go after you and be there for you. Shout out to her. But, so I'm out in the hallway, I'm listening to the rest of the voicemail, and I'm, like, hysterically crying. I call my mom. Like, I don't even call my grandma back because I'm like, what do you mean you're alive? Like, what? Like, I'm so confused. And then, so I call my mom and I tell her what's going on, and she's like, oh my gosh. She's like, are you serious? Did your dad seriously tell you that she was dead and invite you to a funeral for her? Like, literally a set date. He wanted me to come over to his, like, to their house because he lived with her because he was a lowlife. He wanted me to come over to get stuff that she wanted me to have. Like, he literally told me that she had passed. Okay, right? So, I don't call my grandma back because I'm just like, oh my gosh, like, what do you mean? I get off the phone with my mom. I'm still, like, hysterically, like, I'm not crying at this point, but I think I'm more mad than anything because my father literally told me that my grandma died, and then I get a phone call from her, like, what? Like, what? So I think my mom ended up calling my dad, and she wasn't nice. I wouldn't have been nice either if I talked to him, and I haven't talked to him since. So there's that. But my grandma did end up passing because, you know, she did go through a lot. She was on bed rest, and she lived in the hospital. Like, they moved her from one part of the hospital to another part, like, where it's, like, more permanent staying, I guess. And she did pass later in June. And I did get invited to spread her ashes at the beach, like, where she wanted to be spread. And I declined that because that family is fucking crazy. But, I don't mean to make this, like, bad. I know that my grandma has passed, and I don't mean to be disrespectful, but you do not tell your daughter that you don't know, that you weren't a part of their life. Like, you don't tell anyone that someone died and they didn't. Because that person will then call them during class, and it'll be a fucking nightmare. So, yeah, I declined that. I just didn't want to, like, speak to that side of the family. I did not want to talk to him. I did not want to be a part of him at all. Last time, I haven't talked to him since. Like, that's how, like, that's, like, 3 years ago. So, I haven't talked to him since. I don't plan on talking to him. Last time I heard from him, I did talk to his brother, and his brother was, like, saying that, I don't even know, he lives in a hotel or something. So, he's still a lowlife. He's not going to benefit me anyway, so I don't get why I don't have to talk to him. He's not my dad. You're not my dad. Like, seriously. But yeah, that's the time my dead grandma called me. In the middle of class. Like, my dead grandma. Like, no clickbait. Like, my dead grandma called me. So, yeah. I hope you liked this video. Sorry that I'm a complete, utter mess. I am not used to sitting in front of a camera and telling stories, but I'm gonna get used to it because I have a crazy life. I'm not joking. Like stuff like that happens all the time. I'm not joking. Like, it's, like, crazy. I'm not a very good storyteller, but It'll get better, I know it. But subscribe if you want to hear more stories, because I will be telling a lot more. I have an entire book of stories to tell you guys. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Please leave this video a thumbs up if you are still watching and you don't hate my guts and you thought that I was less of a mess than I think I am, but you know what? Being a mess is okay. So yeah, I'm a mess.